It's time for Money Tuesday. We've been talking the last several weeks about, strategies for retirement, having enough money in retirement, depending on what stage you are in your life. And now we're talking about people in their 60s. Marshall Clay with the Welsh Group joins us now. The plans that you should be making if you're in your 60s or about to be in your 60s. Good to have you with us this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, it does change a little bit now that you get close. I mean, that's retirement age for people, whether it's 62 to up to 70.
That's right. And we hope that in our 60s we've made a lot of really good decisions and that we've kind of set the table for a comfortable retirement. And even if you're intending to work, well into your 60s, even in your 70s, a lot of people do that. I think you need to have this retirement mindset. And so there's a couple of things I think our viewers need to focus on.
Okay.
And the first is just adjusting, your investment portfolio, right? So looking at not only your ratio of assets, where I'm talking about stocks, bonds, maybe alternative assets like real estate or gold or precious metals, like whatever you have, you need to kind of to look at that and make sure that your ratio is designed for conservatism, designed to reduce volatility. Okay. And then I think it's important to also look at those underlying assets. So not only look at the ratio, but look at the internal stocks and bonds to make sure that those assets are appropriate for you. And I think that most people probably need to look at companies and assets that have a proven track record, companies that have a proven track record of making money, maybe distributing some dividends, things like that.
And in terms of assessing life insurance or insurance in general, most term insurance is relatively inexpensive. So you're mainly talking about whole life, or which one are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean term, whole life, disability insurance. So a lot of times it's appropriate to continue to hold these policies well into your 60s if you can. But sometimes I see that folks have these big life insurance policies, or they have these really expensive disability policies, and they've sort of already crossed the finish line. So they don't need to continue to pay these really high expensive premiums. They can actually afford to maybe lose some of these policies. Now you want to make a good assessment of whether or not you should do that, based on health and things like that. But there's some opportunities to maybe save a few dollars.
And you touched on health. That's where people really get fearful of whether or not they have enough money for retirement, is if they have unexpected health costs.
Right, and I think it's fairly easy once you get to 65, Medicare's in the picture and you're really deciding between original Medicare or Medicare Advantage type plan. But when you look to retire in your early 60s, sometimes that can be a little complicated. Like, what am I going to do about health care till I get to 65? Am I going to be able to stay on my employer health care through COBRA? Am I going to be able to adjust to a spouse's health care plan, or do I need to go out in the exchange? So you really need to think long and hard about that if you're looking to retire in your early 60s.
All right, then the last consideration people need to think about then.
Yeah, I would say you need to have a plan about your income and withdrawal strategies. And what I mean by that is if you're on the verge of retirement, look at those pensions, look at Social Security, look at the portfolio income that you're likely to have from what you've saved, and assess what that looks like when you actually retire. How are you going to maintain that cash flow that gets you through each and every month? And then obviously look at the tax efficiencies of those withdrawal strategies. A lot of folks put money in 401ks and they enjoy those tax advantages on the front end, but then again, when that money comes out, the tax man's going to come for their money. So just make sure you understand that as well.
The tax man always cometh. All right, so Marshall Clay from the Welsh Group, we do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.